You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Meant something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the vision. Start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we on the mission. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the ropes. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome. It's Wednesday, not just a hump day. It's a dive into the unknown day and make it known. I attune myself to the creative impulses that indwell in me and seek to express in, through, and as me as I share the divine word with you. That's right. Ra and many other beings have word. Whether it's in a book, whether it's on a video, whether it's being shared with the collective or by an individual, it's all divine. It's all the source that is and is not. It's part of who we are as a collective in every celestial vibration. That's right, I said celestial vibration. We can look through our microscopes, our big giant microscopes, and we can see other galaxies. We can look into them, into those vibrations, those celestial doors. They're open to us. We wouldn't have been given the ability to build or sculpt or create those magnificent microscopes and been given the vision to see beyond our celestial galaxy. It was meant for us to know the unknown. That's why we're here in third density. That's why we've got every option available. That's why Ross says, we've been there, we've done it. We know what it's like to be a collective group. We know what it's like to ascend, to shift, and then to anchor. Sixth density. Who knows what they are since they wrote these books? Because they're still ascending. They're still shifting. They're still evolving. They're still becoming. It doesn't stop. That has the scientists baffled, that the universe does not stop expanding. Glorious. Simply glorious. While the credits were coming on, I pulled a card from my Voice of the Soul Oracle cards. It says reproach. Look at that. Reproach. The number on it is 25. If you're into angel numbers or numerology, 25. 2 plus 5 is 7. Go look it up. Right? But here's what the divine wanted me to share. It says, sometimes you are so critical of yourself, so hard on yourself. Sometimes you say things that aren't right, and you think and feel them in your bones. You bring these things to life. You bring these things to life, believing they represent who you are and what you do. This is not so, and you know it's not right. These reproaches have no valid basis because you are an imperfect being and you do your best with what you have. The divine tells you perfect is overrated. You can let it be a part of your third density choice, but perfect is overrated. How about authentic? You have often been powerless, or you felt that way, but this has much to teach you. The divine is sending you many signs for you to understand, for you to glean your inner wisdom. Glean your inner wisdom. Dive into your unknown. It's only unknown until you make it known. And time, it's only in third density. When you move into the vibration of your higher being, then there's no time. There's no time limit on trying to understand yourself, how long it's going to take for your unknown to be known. It could be in a blink of an eye. It could all make sense. Are you ready to deep dive some more into your unknown? If there is darkness, there has to be light. If there is light, there has to be darkness. It's a duality we live in. You don't have to be one or the other. You constantly shift between the two, finding out how you need to grow, how you need to expand, what you need to grow in and what you need to expand in, what you are becoming, and when you want to anchor in what you have become. Until such time as your catalysts move you again to shift and anchor somewhere else. Over to you, Marcus.
Wow. What a way to open the gates. Wow. Thank you for that read.
Wonderful.
So cool. Wow, we said wonderful at the same time. Ah, man. Wow. How is everybody today out there that's tapped in and tuned in? Feel free to put in the comments how you're doing. Love to hear how you are today. If there's any highlights you would like to share, feel free to put them in the comments. If there's maybe any questions that you have about your healing journey, about consciousness, or some guidance you could use, feel free to put it in the comments. And just want to give some gratitude and give some love today to everybody and each and every one of us for being here today and being here present with spirit and being able to have the opportunity to continue to transmit and transfer these knowledges and information. As you know, we can kind of really get caught up and get entangled in the world and in our emotions and all these different things. And I just want to invite us to remember that we can access gratitude, that we can access grounding, that we can decide to let go of the things that are bothering our mind, and that we can use the power of our breath to be able to move through these things. And again, I just want to reiterate, we have free will and we have choice, and we are all capable of making choices. So with that being said, just remember, you are accountable for your energy field. You're accountable for what you're feeling, and you're accountable for what you continue to keep allowing in your field, and you're accountable for removing it. And the beauty is that you can remove it. You can shift your focus. You can decide to do new things with your energy. So just remember, you are always divinely gifted to be the alchemist that you are. Oh, we got some comments. Uh-oh. Rhonda, hello. Oh, that's the queen, everybody. Queen Rhonda right there. That's the queen. Christo's queen. John, welcome in. Good to see you. Painting at work and tuned in. I love that. See, that's what it's all about right there. You know, this is a show, podcast, this is a flow that is open to you no matter where you are. You could be in the car. Put this on your road trip. You could be at work. Put this on your earbuds. You know, you could be working out. You could be doing whatever. Put your headphones on. Tap in and tune in with Raw with us. This is for
Just like
anywhere.
Yeah, just like Goddess is. Goddess Love 888. I'm just driving. Grateful to catch you. Yes.
Yes.
And Karina saying Grand AM. Grand AM. Good morning. Hello, Sarah. Hello. Right? I'm so thankful and grateful. I'm thankful and grateful that I'm letting the divine yield, or I'm yielding to the divine, so that the divine speaks to me through Ra, so that we get the information and we take it the way it's meant to be given for each and every one of us. We are not going to get the same thing. Maybe we will, but maybe we'll have one sentence throughout this whole reading, throughout all of this sharing, that we can take with us and go, all right, this is what I'm gonna rock and roll on this one. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm gonna roll, skate, bounce, just like that old song says. Right?
That's right. Man.
Yeah.
With that being said, ladies, gentlemen, get cozy. Grab your tea, your water, coffee, whatever it may be, kombucha. Allow yourself to get cozy. If you're someone that likes the medicine, enjoy your medicine, you know? Enjoy the plant trees. Allow it to allow you to connect even deeper into the knowledge of Ra as you continue to connect with us. All are welcome to be yourself in your space at home or wherever you are. Just enjoy yourself and have fun with these beautiful words and the beautiful energies. With that being said, I'm gonna hand it back over to our co-host over in California, Sandee M, as we explore the Ra material. Episode 49.
Episode 49. That's where we are. Episode 49. So listen to this. This was a book that when I first started learning about the law or the universal laws, this book is called Universal Laws, Unlocking the Secrets of the Universe. And it's by Craig, or not Craig, I keep always wanting to say that, Creed, C-R-E-E-D, McGregor. It's just a little book. But what it says about the law of divine oneness, because Ra is always talking about the law of one, that's the one true creator, the law of one. And then Ra goes on to say, the law of one is equal to the law of love, that they're the same. Creed says, he enunciates this. If I was talking to him, he would be enunciating this. The law of one, or oneness is the law of the original creation. The original oneness of the divine saying, I want to see more of me. I want to know more of me. The law of creation says that everything that is connected. What we think, believe, say, and do will have a corresponding effect on others and the world around us, not just ourselves. This is the supreme law over all other laws. All of humanity and nature are interconnected as one energy source, no matter what you call that source. We all share in the fact that we are energy. This is what is referred to as maybe our spirit, our soul, our higher self, our higher consciousness, whatever you want to refer it to. Everything around us is energy, living and material, from trees and plants to materials like desks and chairs, no matter how you break it down. So with that known, let's get started. We are on page 32. The questioner is saying, I'm going to go back a very small paragraph. The last paragraph last week, what it said, the green ray type of radiation in this case is the healing. The blue ray, the communication and inspiration. The indigo ray, that energy of the adept, which has its place in faith. This was Ra explaining more of the energy, our chakras. The questioner says, what if a mind-body-spirit complex, that's us, feels a feeling in meditation at the indigo center? What is he feeling? I love this. Now, remember, this is book 3. Ra says, what does Ra say? I am Ra. This will be the last full query on this working. One who feels this activation is one experiencing in-streaming at the energy center to be used either for the unblocking of the center or for its tuning to match the harmonics of its other energy centers, or to activate the gateway to intelligent, you ready for it? Infinity, to the creator, to the one true you, your higher being. That's right. Your higher being is the one true creator, seeking itself in, through, and as you. Wow. Thank you, Divine. We cannot be specific, for each of these 3 workings is experienced by the entity which feels this physical complex distortion. There is a brief query before we leave this instrument. They're finishing up session 54. So here we go. Are you ready? The questioner says, I would just ask if there's anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or to improve the contact. I am Ra. Please be aware the need for the support of the instrument's neck. All is well. I leave you, my friends, in love and in light of the one infinite creator. Go forth, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one infinite creator, Adonai. We begin session 55. Session 55 was channeled June 5th, 1981. So here you are in your now, embracing a past through a channeling that's being channeled now. Here we are. Ra says, I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. I communicate now. The questioner says, I would first like to ask as the condition to the conditions of the instrument, please. I am Ra. This instrument is experiencing physical distortions toward weakness of the body complex occurring due to psychic attacks. This instrument's vital energies have not been affected. However, due to the aid of those present in healing work, this instrument will apparently be subject to such weaknesses due to incarnative processes which predispose the body's complex towards weakness distortions. The questioner says, is there any specific thing that we can do I'm excited about this. Is there anything to do that we can do that you have already told us, or otherwise to alleviate the psychic attacks or to help the instrument the most? I am Ra. We scan this instrument and find the distortions towards appreciation of each entity and each entity's caring, as you may call it. This atmosphere, shall we say, offers the greatest contrast to the discomfort of such psychic attacks, being the reciprocal that is the atmosphere of psychic support. This each of you do as a subconscious function of true attitude. Oh, that's a new word. I've never seen that. ATTITUDINAL. Attitudinal, mental, attitude, mental, emotional, and spiritual distortions towards this instrument. There is no magic greater than honest distortion towards love. So all of that to say, Ra just said, love her. Hold her in a space of love. The questioner says, thank you. I want to ask a couple of questions about previous material that I didn't understand. I am hoping that this will clear up my understanding somewhat with respect to the mental configurations with which we have been dealing. In the session before last, you stated, however, take the comma, this is a risk for the Orion entities due to the frequency with which the harvestable negative planetary entities attempt to bid and order the Orion contract, just as these entities bid planetary negative contracts. Can you explain this mechanism that affects polarization in consciousness with respect to the statement? Ra says, I am Ra. The negative polarization is greatly aided by the subjugation and enslavement of other selves. Okay? Other selves means, once again, I use the example. When I'm looking at Marcus, I'm seeing my other self. I am part of wholeness, and Marcus is part of wholeness. And here's an example. When we look at those people that we don't like, or we don't like their position or whatnot, here it is. Some of you don't like, that shall not be named, but I'm going to name him. You don't like Trump, but Trump is our other self. He is a higher being that took a human form, that was given free will to make choices. Whether his choices are good for you or not doesn't stop him from being part of the other self that is the divine consciousness seeking itself as a human. Okay, are you understanding that? Like when I hear people talk about him, I don't necessarily like the stuff that they're talking about him about. I don't support it, but I do say that that's his choices. That's where he gets to play on his playground. But guess what? I have an opt-out button. I figured out that I had it. It's called I don't have to play where he's at. And I finally figured out if I play in an area where I'm giving him my energy about not liking him, then I'm still playing in that playground. I'm still playing there. And I'm freely giving him or them or they or those that we want to fight against. And therefore I'm opening myself up to the universe, that the universe is going to go, okay, Sandee, you want more to fight about him, about them, about that. Your wish is my command. Why? Because he is the other self of me. But he's just expressing differently. He chose to express in lower vibration. Hey, and that's what Ra is saying here, that some of them in the negative polarity chose to vibrate in enslavement. Enslavement is just another word for control. It has nothing to do with 200 years ago about enslaving Black people. It's about control of everyone. Their choice that they wanted to control. That's the playground that they came on to play. That's all Ra is saying. Now you could spend a whole lot of time not liking it, but then you're playing in the lower polarities. Because now they've said, oh, Sandee, you came over to play with me. Thank you so much. Right? My mother always told me, and now, and pretty much living the last 20 something years or more, that bad publicity is still publicity. Somebody talking negative about you, they're still talking about you. That's all Ra is saying. So let's keep going. The potential between two negative polarity entities is such that the entity which enslaves the other or bids the other gains is negative polarity. So if you're complaining about being a victim of what he's about to do, you've just it's negative polarity. You're playing in it. Now that you know that you're playing in it, what you got to do? Because some people, they don't know. They're conscious that they're living life, but they're not aware that they have choices in moving, how to move through life, how to be a better creator. Right? The entity so bidden or enslaved in serving I'm going to slow my roll. Divine says, slow my roll and drink some water. Okay. So it says that Ra says the entity so bidden, B-I-D-D-N, or enslaved, take the comma, that means take a pause, in serving an other self, right, will necessarily lose negative polarity, although it will gain in desire for further negative polarization. The more that I lean into that, talking about the negativity of, and we're using the politics here, the more I talk negatively about that, I gain more negativity. It's not just only about the he who shall not be named gaining more negative energy. It's about me gaining it too. That's what Ra is saying. So how do you want to play? The desire will then tend to create opportunities to regain, listen to this, to regain negative polarity. Okay. The questioner says, I am, or am I to understand then that just the fact that the third density entity calls or bids an Orion Crusader is a polarizing type of action that affects both entities? Whether you're calling it an Orion Crusader or whether you're calling it your beingness, you're involving yourself as the other. You're sitting looking at the other, your other self, and making a judgment call. After you make a judgment call, what do you want to do with it? A lot of people just stay in the judgment. What do you want to do with it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I chose. Okay, so men are talking about that. About women's bodies now. They can go, my choice. What is that? My choice. My body, my choice. Well, I don't want to be around men like that. So now that I've heard that, and I've judged it as being negative and me not liking it, what do I do then? Now am I going to choose to fight that? Because now I'm telling the universe that I want to fight it. So what does that mean? That means that in my day-to-day, men are going to show up that have that mentality in my day. Because the universe says you want to fight it. Therefore, in order to fight it, that door has to be open to those type of men. Oh, no, I don't want that. I don't like that. I want to be around men who respect me because I respect myself. I know that's a part of the polarity, the negative polarity that exists in that part of the playground. But I want to be around more men like my other self called Marcus, because he respects me. He loves me. I want to be around more men like that. You get to choose what your polarization is. That's why you have both. That's why you have the upper, the negative and the positive. So you can make choices. You can grow. You can expand. That's all Ra is saying. Ra says, this is incorrect. The calling mechanism is not congruent in the slightest degree with the bidding mechanism. In the calling entity, hold on, it's my pages. Okay, it was stuck. In the calling, comma, take the pause, the entity which calls is a supplicant neophyte asking for aid in negative understanding. It's just a higher being, which they gave a label to. They're trying to understand the negative polarity. If you can excuse the misnomer, the Orion response increases its negative polarity as it is disseminating the negative philosophy by enslaving or bidding the entity calling. If the entity wants to learn more about the negative polarity, then it's going to immerse itself. Ra goes on to say, there are instances, however, when the contact between contests, which is protypical of negativity. In this case, the caller will attempt not to ask for aid, but to demand results. Since the third density negativity orientated harvestable entities, as it is disposed and incarnative experiential nexus, or since the Orion Crusaders are, in great extent, bound by the first distortion in order to progress, the Orion entity is vulnerable to such bidding for it to be properly done. They want to learn about the negative polarity. And of course they want to learn how to do it properly. Guess what? That's their choice. That's all Ra is saying. Every higher being, every soul, every spirit, whatever you choose to call it, has a choice between the higher polarity and the lower polarity, or the positive polarity or the negative polarity. It's their choice. When they descend into a human body, yes, they're veiled from that. But the vibration of them, when they're starting to recall, will be pulled to what they chose to seek. And of course they want to get have their cup runneth over in what they chose to seek. There are some that chose, hey, we want to know what control feels like. And there are other higher beings that said, yeah, okay, I'll come play with you. Remember, I'm going to be your catalyst in this. And at any given time, I can end the contract because I can choose to go play somewhere else. And higher beings will say, okay, play with me for as long as you want to play with me. I'm the one that's controlling, and you're going to be the control until such time as you make a different choice. So whether they're calling it Orion Crusaders or whatever label they're calling it, when they came into this duality, they came into play. Just like little kids said, I want to play, I want to be the fireman, and I want to rescue somebody. And a kid will say, okay, I'll be the one that you're going to rescue. And then they have this elaborate thing. Okay, I'm going to rescue this one. You're going to survive, and then you're going to be dead. That's how they play. Cowboys and Native Americans. We called it cowboys and Indians in our day. But yeah, we played that. This is, when you look at it as a game, Ra is saying, what are you going to choose? It is what it is. Ra says, however, when it has occurred, the Orion entity or the social memory complex involved has experienced loss of negative polarity in proportion to the strength of the third bidding, the third density entity. Sometimes you come in and third density just takes you over. You get stuck in that polarity. You get stuck in the cycle creating itself. Think about it. I was told that every cycle must end. Every time the pendulum swings, it swings back and dynasties end. Sometimes it takes a long time and it gets stuck. That dynasty, somebody's, this has been going on for, well over 200 years. Why can't we get it right? Why can't we figure out how to be, kinder to each other? Blah, blah. Because this density is stuck. It's dense. It's like quicksand. And here's what the divine just said. And I've been struggling not to say it. But the thing is, those that are in the negative polarity are fighting a lot, or not fighting, or pushing a lot harder to stay in their negative polarity, because that's where they want to play. So they're push and pull. Think about that. They're pulling that rope. It's a tug of war. I don't like using a tug of energy. There we go. So if you want to stay in your positive polarity, how hard are you going to pull? Or are you going to just let go of the rope and let them have their area to play in? Are you going to pull so hard trying to change them? Or are you just going to let go of the rope and go, let it be so? Back to you, Marcus.
Oh, shoo-wee. A lot of releasing over here.
Yeah. At first I thought am I boring him? Nah, that was releasing.
Oof. No, this is medicine. This is vibratory medicine right here. It tends to get me into my meditative brain waves. I'm not sure what brainwave state that is. I think that's delta, but I can tell sometimes in these raw episodes, my physical body starts tuning out. I start tuning into those lucid states or the meditative states. And it may seem like my body's a little tired, but it's actually just releasing energy. And it's very, very potent spaces that we have here. But I want to kind of rewind a little bit. And I want to give everybody a recap of last week and what we explored. So if I believe correctly, we talked about some of the chakras. And then after that, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an explanation of what the third eye chakra is, as it was mentioned in the beginning of this reading with the third eye indigo center. So we'll go ahead and take a rewind back to last week, and then I will show you guys a little bit in depth about the third eye chakra, how you can become more conscious of it, and what it means universally for us as human beings.
To glean. Did you hear that? We were incarnated to glean. We were incarnated to bump up against the quantumness of our catalyst, to seek situations and circumstances, to seek conversations that trigger us or vibrate us into the next evolutionary step.
What is, and then also the aspect of infinite creativity being blended together. And that's kind of like a general way of explaining what creation is. Creation has an outline. There's like an original blueprint to creation that the source made. And then within that is just different degrees of vibration, octaves, and details, that building momentum of conscious divine light. And through the conscious divine light, depending upon the frequency of the chakra, it then connects.
What energy am I in that they vibrated to that energy?
Oof, what a beautiful episode that was. Man, I think we went for like 2.5 hours last week. Like, woo-wee. That was a beautiful episode. So I saw in the comments on the Facebook side, Leanne, and Leanne is a local sister here in Ohio that's been a part of some of my spaces in person. She's a wonderful community member, but she said, thank you for providing insight through the messages of Ra. This has given me much to think about regarding the choices that I will make. That's beautiful right there. And that's what it's all about. We are just here to be the messenger. Whether it resonates with your opinion or your beliefs, that's not really up to us. We're just here to be a catalyst of sharing the messages. And then if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we're just giving you the gift of knowledge, and you can either take it or leave it. And then, with that gift, the reason why we're doing it and the reason why we're sharing is because we understand the impact it can have, not just on your physical human self and your human life, but on your soul life, who you are beyond this human identity, and who you'll be beyond this human body, and who you were before this human body. We're here to help you access that level of yourself, and then ultimately find your connection with the I am that is connected to source. So really grateful. Thank you for expressing that, Leanne. If you guys find this stuff very helpful, feel free to express it, put it in the comments, give us feedback, because it helps amplify, get the rhythm as well as the algorithms going as well. Speaking of algorithms, give a like, give a share, subscribe to us if you're not. Those are the ways to support. Thank you guys. So we're going to go ahead and talk about a little bit of the indigo ray, which is the third eye chakra. Because Rob mentioned the third eye indigo center. So as you guys see here, we have the third eye chakra. And I do make these graphics myself. If anybody's ever interested in any of these chakra graphics, I have all 12. But the location of the third eye chakra is between the brows. So it's right directly between the eyebrows at the tip of your nose. A lot of times they kind of give you the belief that the center of your third eye chakra is in the center of your forehead, but it's actually between your eyebrows. If you're someone that's very precise about, location of energy and where the center of this energy center is, it's in between the eyebrows. Now, of course, it expands to your forehead area as a center as a whole, but the very vocal point of it is right there between the brows. So the mantra, a mantra, if you guys are not familiar with what a mantra is a vocalization of the frequency, basically. So each chakra has a mantra. Another example of a mantra is Om. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Om. A lot of times in circles and in groups and in other ways, you'll do Om chants. That is a mantra. So with the third eye chakra, it's very similar to Om, which is actually the crown chakra, which is why it's the universal symbol. Third eye is Aum, so it's A-U-M. So you do a deep breath and then you'd vocalize And what you'll notice is you'll start to feel that location center start to vibrate and shift. So, color, indigo, just like Ra said. This is the indigo energy center, the third eye. So there's physical parts of the body that each of the 7 chakras govern and occupy. And with that, they also connect to the health and well-being of these parts. And for the third eye, it is the pituitary and pineal glands, the forehead, eyes, nose, and brain. So just to simplify this for you guys, chakras are located in specific areas. You got the third eye right here, you got the crown up here, throat, heart, so on and so forth. Then you think about it, it's located right in this area. So therefore, that energy center is also going to be connected to parts of that area because of that. So with that being said, the third eye chakra governs your pituitary gland, which is inside of your brain, your pineal gland, that's inside the center of your brain, which throughout history, the pineal gland has been glamorized time after time, it's even tied to the third eye. And the forehead's right there, the eyes, the nose connected to that right there, and the brain. So you think about it, it's very simple. When you start to study the organic nature of creation that was designed by the master blueprint source, then you start to see that there's simplicity. There's not confusion. There's nothing that's like out of sort. It's this is connected to this is connected to this. It'll be very simple and clear to see when it comes to these organic blueprints. So then, with that being said, since it governs the pituitary and pineal gland, it then governs your circadian rhythm, your biological clocks and cycles, your hormones and chemical regulation, due to the pineal and pituitary glands being connected to many of your vital chemicals in the body, such as melanin, melatonin, dopamine, serotonin, all the things that help you feel alive and help you feel connected to life. So along with that, stepping into more of the metaphysical realm, it is our direct connection to our psychic senses and our intuitive guidance. It is one of the main centers for astral travel and lucid states. And this is also our manifesting center and our projector of our reality. So this is how we perceive and project the reality that we are experiencing within our own vessel. And it's different for everybody, as we say. Everybody has their own perception. And then it is also where you tap into infinite divine wisdom and insight, because of being tapped into the intuitive and the etheric realm. You're then going to be able to download and naturally connect to what is beyond the third dimension. So if we have a lot of blockages in our third eye, we're going to be struggling really hard to be able to see through the veil. We're going to be struggling really hard to see through the problems and not see things as problems. And when we have it clear, we're able to see that there's a wholeness to everything. There's divine messages encoded within everything. And there's something more beyond the problem at hand than what I'm personally perceiving and feeling. So some overactivations and blockages in this center and what they can manifest into your life and look like. And I invite you to maybe think about where you are in your current life, and if any of these overactivations or blocks are present, maybe journal them out, mentally take note of them, and consider doing a meditation after this, or maybe at the end we'll do a little short meditation to help clear your third eye. So overactivations can manifest into having an ungrounded mind, mental manipulation upon others, and this can be giving or receiving. Psychic attacks, which was just mentioned in the beginning of this study, being overly analytical. So we see a lot of this right now. We see a lot of folks being overly analytical right now, where the only thing that they're doing is just logically studying this person or that thing. And instead of tapping into their divine wisdom and their infinite creative ability of the feminine, they're just staying in their masculine analytical side, not allowing themselves to open up and just be open to the possibilities of that this person could be something different than what I'm perceiving. And then along with that, you can also be psychosis-like. So that's when you're stuck in your higher chakra realms and then you're untethered to your lower. So then you become psychosis-like because you're so ungrounded from the physical reality. And then lastly, blockages. Head pressure, insomnia, nightmares. Insomnia, nightmares, for anybody out there that could be struggling with that. Third eye chakra work can help you rebalance the way that you sleep, because it'll help rebalance your chemical regulation. Confusion on your life path, mind control, hard to see the bigger picture or solutions, cognitive distortions, and limited or degrading thoughts. Cognitive distortions, what are those? That is a psychological study in psychology, and of course throughout many other studies as well. But cognitive distortions basically are when we have unhealed parts of trauma, memories, or anything else within our system that is still present. And then due to it being still present, it continues to automatically loop and become an unconscious pattern. And then what that happens is it creates distortions within our cognitive perception, because we are still having memories, traumas, and attachments that are skewing the clearness and the purity of what we are perceiving. It's a very, very saddening thing to experience. It really can be. This is one of my easiest examples to use is, say you're in a relationship with somebody and it's like a new relationship, but then you or the other person has been through so much trauma in past relationships. They never heal the trauma. Then what happens is you're sitting there trying to love that person, or they're trying to love you out of purity and innocence. And due to the traumas that you've been through, those memories and energies distort your perception of that person in your life currently and what they are doing. So they may do something, but since we experienced someone in the past doing that behavior, but through a different intention, we can then distort that and think that they're doing what the people in the past are doing when they're not. That's a cognitive distortion. And that's why we really got to take the time to heal our memory, heal our traumas, and really sit with ourselves if we need to in between relationships. Or we're going to entangle things of the past into the present and then destroy the future. So what are some ways that you can clear the third eye? You can use foods and herbs like red onion, cabbage, raisins, avoiding and also cleansing yourself of fluoride, mushrooms, superfoods, cacao, rosemary, juniper, mugwort, valerian root, kava, and I'll also add lavender on there as well. All really good for the third eye chakra. And then of course, you guys have many, many, many practices between yoga, breath work, Reiki, meditation, frequencies, all sorts of things. You can mix and match and have fun and explore these different holistic ways of balancing your third eye chakra. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it back over to you, Sandee.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You see what Ra is saying? 16,000 years ago, he started that collective they. And it's still being channeled today. Not just through Marcus, not just through me. You can go on any one of your apps and the divine will have information for you. It doesn't mean just because you listen to somebody and most of it isn't resonating for you, but there's that one sentence that stands out into your psyche that says, huh? What? And it keeps coming back to you. And you go, okay, well, this person isn't, so I'm not going to listen to that. But then the universe will echo it to you again. And again. And again. I can't tell you how many times the universe kind of just went, she'll get it. The divine says, I know. Just like that, I know. And it took me some time. Why? Because, guys, I was living life. And life was showing me. And while I thought out loud with my verbiage, life is kicking my ass in some of the areas. Yes, when I was little, my mother was my spiritual guide. But and I was going strong. And then when she passed, when she left this life in this life, when her body said, no more, I've done it. The next expression of her life is that she's got to go through sorrow. And then a good 10 years of that, being a single mom at that, being told I would never be able to raise my kids without a man. And now my mentor, not just my mother, I knew that she was not just a best friend and not just a mother, but she felt like this mentor because I could go to her, even though she wasn't giving me a whole lot of information. She gave me the opportunity, just like Ra is giving this questioner the opportunity to ask a question. And it wasn't until the end of the year before last when I asked a question to my mother about why you didn't give me a chance to say goodbye. And on someone's live on Instagram, that dark night that my soul was walking me through, on somebody's live, I got to ask that question. How come I didn't get a chance to say goodbye? And in that live, my mother said, because I hadn't left you. I transformed, but I hadn't left you. That's all Ra is saying. You look and you see and you say, oh, Jesus hasn't come back. The divine says, yes. Yahshua has transformed and alchemized many times. Maybe you missed it, but it's okay. Because through others, Yahshua is still speaking to you. Through others, Ra is still speaking to you. Through others, Buddha is still speaking to you. Through others, your other selves that are living life, showing up in that quantum energy, bumping up against you, whether you call it triggering or activating you, to grow and expand, to learn, to become more, even more than you were the day before. Your life gets to be a little bit more than the day before. And you get to say, how am I going to do it today? You get to rub your hands together and go, ooh, how am I going to do it today? What am I going to do? Right? So, and the reason why I said that is I had picked this card just to be a placeholder for me finding my sentence when I wanted to start reading again. Look what that card says. It says source. The number is 31. 3 plus 1 is 4. Here is what source says. You may be having trouble taking a step back and understanding your life path. You are having difficulty finding your place, and you are feeling out of sorts, wherever you are. You may be having trouble feeling fulfilled. You also doubt your spiritual abilities and skills. You often question everything, feel like you're always coming back to square one. This can make you feel exhausted. But today, connect to your crown chakra and become aware of your destiny. Ask an embodying question. Destiny is about life. Destiny is about life. Don't seek to fit in. Seek to create around you. Don't doubt yourself being the one true creator. Seeking itself in all that is and is not. Don't doubt yourself. Be proactive in your destiny, your life. Life is energy, and energy is seeking to create. It's seeking for you to give it a command. Doesn't matter whether the labels are Orion or whatever those labels are. You are a higher being seeking to create. It doesn't matter where your higher being came from. It doesn't matter what galaxy it came from, what dimension it came from. It came to experience this third density duality and be you and express you. It came to move up and down the polarities, bumping up against the quantum of the polarities, exciting you, getting you to like and dislike things, getting you to have emotion about the like and the dislike. So it moves you into another new quantum nowness. Don't be afraid to be that. And if you are afraid, take a step up to just fearing it. And then take a step up to begin to know it. And say, ooh, this is uncomfortable. But take another step up to say, ooh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. The questioner says, what method of communication with the entity would a bidder of this type use? I am Ra. The two most usual types of bidding are: 1, the use of perversion of sex magic; 2, the use of perversion of ritual magic. In each case, the key is to success. The key to success is the purity of the will of the bidder. The concentration upon victory over the servant must be nearly perfect. All Ra is saying is you're going to choose. And you're going to feel it, whatever it may feel like for you. And this is, part of the entity choosing the negative polarity and using one or two one of not just two, but one of many tools to experience them or they being in control. The questioner says, can you tell me in the polarization of consciousness if there is any analogical or analogy analogy. Okay, I need to slow my roll. With respect to what you just said in this type of contact, with respect to what we are doing right now in communication with Ra? Ooh, that's a good question. He moved into something deep. I am Ra. There is no relationship between this type of contact and the bidding process. Bidding is spelled Bidding. This contact may be characterized as one typical of the brother and sisters of sorrow, wherein those receiving contact have attempted to prepare for such contact by sacrificing extraneous, self-orientated distortions in order to be of service. The Ra social memory complex offers itself as a function of its desire to serve. Both the caller and the contact are filled with great gratitude of the opportunity of serving. We may note that this is in no way presupposed that either the caller or those of our group in any way approach a perfection or purity such as, or they use such as was described in the bidding process. The calling group may have many distortions. We're the calling group, and the working with much catalyst, as may those of Ra. The overriding desire to serve others bonds with the unique harmonics of this group. Vibrating complexes give us the opportunity to serve as one channel for the one infinite creator. Things come not to those positively oriented, but through such beings. Such beings that want to that ask for the contact. They set up for this contact with Ra. They made the call, this questioner. And Ra answered the phone. They called 888-8888, and Ra answered. The collective Ra answered. The sixth density at that time, Ra answered the call. Every time you see a spacecraft in the sky, they're there because we called them. They're there because Earth consciousness said, hey, these beings that are moving and shifting and evolving with me want to see you. Why? Because we told Earth conscious that, and she made the call for us. She's the operator. Operator. What's that song? Operator, give me Jesus on the line. That's an old song, an old scat song, ditty song, jump and jive song. We're not just willy-nilly seeing all this shit right now. We made the call and they answered. You seen all those movies where we set up this great big array, and we sent out vibrations and information about who we are. We're Earth, and we sent out all the information, and then we got an answer back, and they come to in the movie they come. I think it was Battleship. Do you remember that movie, Battleship? It was like a couple of years, like 3 or 4 years ago. They took this array, this big array, and they sent all this information out into the universe. They picked a planet that kind of looked like us, and they sent this vibrational information out, giving them all the information, our coordinates and everything. And then I believe it was 10 years later, we didn't just get a call back in the movie. They came looking, and they came to destroy in the movie. But we've been placing these calls for a long time. Ra is just saying, now you want to understand about your call and why we answered you? Things come not to those positively oriented, but through such beings. You don't always have to be on the positive path. You get to ask a question that might steer you there. Blows your mind, right? Doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Perfect is overrated. It means you can in the quantum field of you that you're always bumping up into, you can dabble, you can dip, you can dip your big toe. You can decide if the water is a little too cold or if it's too hot. You can pull your toe out and go, oh no, I need to go over there, or I need to go over here, or I'm not going to dip my toe anymore. Right? You get to decide that. The questioner says, thank you. You have stated in an earlier session that until transfers of energy of all types have been experienced, the mastered to a great mastered to a great extent, there will be blockages in the blue and in the indigo radiations. Could you explain this more fully? I am Ra. At this space-time, we have not covered the appropriate immediate material. Please re-question at a more appropriate space and time. All Ross said was, nope, not yet. Let's come back to that. You like how Ross said that? Let's come back to it.
That's intriguing.
Right? We haven't covered that yet. You may have thought we did, but let's come back to it. It doesn't mean that the questioner wasn't ready, but hey, Ra can read the vibration. Back to you, Marcus.
I'm gonna find a noise that I can play while we do that. Back to you. Do. Oh gosh. All right. So Leanne, thank you so much for expressing yourself. I'm gonna read this for everybody, and then I'll give a little bit of insight and some tips that you can use if you would like at your own free will for your third eye chakra. And if you are still here, Leanne, just feel free to let us know in the comments. But either way, I'll still express this and share, and you can catch it on the replay if you're not here. But Leanne said, I cleansed myself of the crystalline state in my pineal gland a couple of years ago, which coincides with when my life truly began aligning and awakening. I have avoided fluoride and filtered my drinking and bathing waters for years. Oh, the bathing waters, that's a pretty good one. Recently, my third eye chakra has been expanding and blasting open. My awareness and claircognizance has expanded. I'm full of joy and love and fully believing in myself, yet I feel there are blocks to break through that I cannot find. I'm open to any advice and guidance. And I think there's actually might be some more on there too. Let me see. Nope. Okay. Yeah. Just some advice on how to identify the blockages. So what I feel called to share here, and take it or leave it. This is a channel. This isn't me trying to form an opinion. But in the time that we're in, one thing that could be a little tricky and kind of sneak in there and offset our third eye chakra, especially during this time, is propaganda. Whether it's propaganda or whether it's fear from others or whether it's victimhood from others or ourselves, these kind of energies and mentalities are one-way shops to a destroyed third eye chakra. So I'm feeling called in this moment to just bring a highlighted awareness to where are we absorbing information? And is that information beneficial to our well-being? Is it going to keep me in my most clear and fluid state with spirit? Or is it going to feed my ego? Or is it going to feed my wounds? Is it going to feed my triggers? And during these times, it could be tough because we have to discern and have boundaries. Even when it comes to our friends, our family, community, and beyond. We gotta have the sense of awareness of separation, not separation in the way that it's been portrayed, as in completely separate and no connection, but the original meaning of separation, which is I have an individual that's sovereign, and I'm also a part of a collective. But there is a way that I can draw boundaries where I am not taking on the collective. I am not taking on the collective's fears. I'm not taking on the collective's programming. I'm not taking on the collective's beliefs. But I am continuing to stay true to myself and my soul journey with my higher self as a sovereign being that came into this world by himself and will leave this world by himself. Despite what Trump does, despite whatever else happens, despite if reform happens or not, I am still an individual soul with an individual unique connection to the Most High. And I am walking this journey as my own individual self and will leave this planet as my individual self. So we got to really consider, especially during these times, what information are we absorbing? Is it feeding polarity and duality? Fear, victimhood, hopelessness, feeling like we need to be in aggression, that we need to do something about it and attack the system? Or are we just stepping more into our true authentic power, knowing that the divine has something for us? Even if somebody's president or not, even if something is changing or not, we are to make it through this. Even if we don't make it through this in this body, we are going to make it through this into the next dimension of our own existence. This is a balanced third eye, what was just spoken at the end here. So with that, I feel like that could be a message for anybody on having a healthy and balanced third eye chakra. And it's not for the weak. I'm telling you, this work is not for the weak. Like, you got to really have the courage. You got to have the will to draw those lines with your own self, to self-discipline your ego, to be able to be like, look, I get it. My friends are in fear. There's people out there that are in fear. But right now, I have this space with the divine. I have capabilities. I'm still fully capable. Nothing's happening to me. So with that being said, let me be a clear instrument, since I'm not caught up in all of that. Instead of catching ourselves up into all that on purpose, through our own free will. Man, the divine is speaking today. And
yes, the divine is. I'm telling you.
I don't know how many times I can reiterate these things during this time, but that's always going to be the whole message through me is, you can either continue to feed into the polarities, the propaganda, what your friends and your community is saying, or you can have your own authentic view and your own pureness within, with the connection of source that goes beyond all the distortions and problems. And that's up to each and every one of us to decide that for ourselves. Nobody can do it for you. But if you're not going to want to do it, please don't go blaming and shaming one guy or whoever you feel like, because
It's not that we're telling you don't go do it. You got free will. You could do anything you want to do. Welcome, Starlight. You can do anything you that's the whole thing. That the divine said, I'm seeking myself. I want to see more of myself in the physical form. I know me already in formless. So I want you, and this is why the divine said we give them free will, so we can see us in them. You have the choices to be in the polarities, to find out. You found out. Some of you have found out that this is an illusion. Well, if it's illusion, what do you want to do from it? Some people are telling you to run from it. Some people are telling you to break out of it. Or some people are telling you to go create it. Break down what this information is that they're giving you, all these preconceived informations that you are quote unquote saying has been perpetuated on you. What do you want to do with it? Let me tell you, Neo, when he found out that it was a matrix, he didn't break free from it. He went deeper into it and he started recreating it. At first, he fought it. He fought against it. And then he stopped. And he started asking questions. This is just a movie, baby. But I mean, when you start asking, then you start seeing every movie that you've ever watched, every TV show that you've ever done. You go back and look at them as your pineal gland and your crown chakra start becoming active, and you see the messages. You see the information. What are you going to do with it? It's not about how the writer wrote it. For me, just for me, I had to say, okay, what now? Now I understand my questions about what now. Right? Like Marcus is saying, you do have to know your boundaries because you set them. But also I say to you, don't get stuck in your boundaries. Your boundaries can keep you limited. Boundaries sometimes get set up because you're in fear. And your ego will say, well, here's a boundary. We'll give it to her because that's what she wants. We'll give it to him because that's what he wants. And then we'll make it pretty for him. Or we'll make it pretty for her. And then she'll stay here. Because she won't go outside of that boundary and dabble or put the toe in the unlimited. Your ego is only separate until you show it that it's not separate. Till you show it that it's wholeness. That you're ready to grow and expand, that you're ready to see more of yourself. And sometimes I'm going to tell you, I've bumped up against stuff that just really is uncomfortable. Even now, in the last three months of doing, being told, stage 1, being told, all this information, and actually sitting back and having that opportunity to show my higher being, well, this is how I feel about this. And then my higher being says, yeah, well, you contracted to have this happen. And I get to say, oh, why now? And my higher being said, because now is you advocating to let people know that they can, that they are a triune being, that they are a higher being with a physical body, with a conscious mind, and you want them to know how to merge modern medicine, which isn't wrong, because it took a long time for us to, and our higher beings, to get here through the energies of intent and energy to create all these magnificent things to keep us to a point alive, so that we can learn more about holistic medicine, so that we can learn about more healthy eating, so we can learn about how to create through intention and through energy. And I went, oh, that's right. That's where I was going with this. Well, how do you know how to tell somebody that if you haven't gone through it? So we're going through it now. So I had to learn how to transform more. I had to learn how to be an alchemizer of energy better. And I had to step outside of my comfort zone. Because I had everybody come in and telling me, you're a fool. You're doing radiation. You're a fool. You're doing this. You're going to die. I actually had somebody that came into slid into my DMs and told me that I was going to die. That they thought that was proper and appropriate. But the divine says you have to learn how to deal with people like this. That's another version of self that you're looking at. Because I try never to unfollow anybody. I try never to block anybody, because I think that they're always going to come back, and the divine is going to say, they're going to come back and they'll have, they'll be ready for information. But it's learning how to use the tools that I have. That it's okay for growth and expansion. I had to learn. I'm still learning. I'm still growing and expanding. And what to do next, where to go next, who to serve. It doesn't mean that I don't dabble in the negative polarity, because I did. The question wasn't why me. I wasn't in the being a victim, but it was definitely pushing back the question that my egoic self wanted to ask my higher self, and I was pushing it back, saying, oh, that's not spiritual. I can't go there. And my higher being had to say, let the question be asked. And the question was asked. Why now? I've been through this before. Why now? And I had to sit with it. Yeah. I had to sit with the uncomfortability. I had to sit with the tears. I had to sit with, feeling upon certain time where I was distanced from IG and YouTube and all my soul fam and everything, that I was doing this alone. And the divine said, when have you ever been alone? I've always been with you. I'm seeking myself in, through, and as this is happening. As you're in the learn portion of what Ross says, learn, teach is. In the love portion of what love, peace is. It's not easy, but you can do it if you choose. There's a word there, embodiment. What do you choose to embody? Do you choose to be a victim of whatever the higher beings have chosen to be in the political arena? Do you want to be their victim? The divine universe will say, your wish is my command. The divine will never say no to you. Ever. Because it is seeking itself as Democrats, Republicans, and independents. It's seeking itself as the voter, as the non-voter. It's seeking itself as the believer, as the non-believer. It's seeking itself as Baptist, Methodist, Catholic. It's seeking itself as the what do you call it, the people that don't believe in anything at all, the agnostic, and the I forget what the other word is, but
Atheist.
Atheist. The divine is seeking itself as all of those and saying through your higher being, show me what you feel about that. I don't know explain the vibration of it, because I know it in formless, but I don't know it in form. Show me. That's why I gave you polarity. That's why I gave you left and right and up and down and right and wrong and like and dislike. It's not that you weren't supposed to have it. That's why I gave you the polarity of vibration, so that you could seek it. That's all Ra is saying. All your chakras are spinning counterclockwise, so you could be you. So you could tune in and tap in to what works for you. And what works for you doesn't have to work for the next person. And you don't have to bring anybody along with you, because if they are coming along with you, they will. If they don't, they will resist you. And if you resist them making a choice not to come with you, then you are being pulled back into a different polarity choice. They're not doing anything to you. You're holding on to them and allowing them to say, I'm just going to be. And you're saying, well, no, you got to be like me. Come on. I figured it out. But baby, if they're not ready, let go and live. There's a reason why they're on the flip side of your 45 record. There's a reason why they're on the B side of your record. Find out what, through your higher being, why you are there. That's all Ra is saying. Tune in and tap into yourself. If you got to the point where your third eye has been fully vibrating, and you're still seeing 3D as 3D, then you're not fully there yet. You are there. But there's another question that you've got to ask. Because if you've got to your third chakra, your third eye chakra, you're seeing consciousness or 3D through a different consciousness. That's all Ra is saying. You're so tuned in and tapped in, you don't see it the same way. But you are anchored in a consciousness where you can see it a different way. But you have access to 3D, access to 4D, access to 5D. You could be at 144D, anchored in and looking at 3D through that lens. What are you seeing? That's all. That's all Ra is saying. One person could be, just because you're still with somebody, they could be totally tuned in and tapped into 3D, and you could be experiencing the whole gambit of whatever that energy is, and they not get you, but you get them. You get them and go, I gotta let you go. And I understand that when you're ready, I'll be here. Or somebody I know that I've already touched will be here. Glory, glory. Thank you. Back to you. Whew. That was a channel, man.
Thank you for that.
Oof.
All right, so let's see here. So back to Leanne and what you're trying to get solved for yourself. So it says, my fear is not connected to the political environment. I believe in myself that I'm able to adapt, survive, protect, and nourish myself no matter the government around me. My lifelong fear has been scarcity. I have surrounded to that fear and shakily. Okay. Your abundance is still blocked, it feels like. And then she said that was very helpful of you in that last segment. Okay, Leanne. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and navigate us into the root chakra because our connection to abundance is directly connected to our root chakra. The third eye is our perception. It's our intuitive connection to the higher planes. Now, when it comes to abundance and scarcity, that's your lower chakras, and your root chakra is the foundation to that. So we're going to go over the root chakra real quick. I'm sure there's many of us that could use this, sometimes even myself. The root chakra is at the base of the spine. It's known as our foundation or our base center of our human physical life. The mantra is LAM. So that's one way that you can help ground yourself to the abundance of earth is through the mantra LAM. The traits, 396 hertz. So there's another thing. You can use sound healing, 396 hertz to help ground yourself and clear out your root chakra so that your energetic cord can be connected to the planet. And then the more that is connected to the planet, the more you can streamline your natural stability and a connection to abundance of earth resources. So the color is red. And then the chakra, these things were going to cause resistance from your abundance into your groundedness of the human life. And it stores our anger, resentment, fear, and pain. So if we're dealing with those things, if we focus on the root chakra, we can help clear out those things. And then with that, it brings groundedness and stability. And this is inner stability, stability within yourself, so that you're not relying upon the world for your stability within yourself. And then that reflects into your outside world. And then fight or flight mode. So overactivations and blockages, these could be some things to kind of note or key in if these are present in your life. These are things to address, and that could help you with your connection to abundance on the earth. If you are lethargic or abrasive, it's a sign of an overactive. Edgy, lack of patience, overdrive or workaholic. And then blockages, being easily defensive, scattered, emotionally unstable, past pains overtaking the present, money and career issues, disassociated from human life, and having a wild nervous system. And then foods and herbs that you can use for the root chakra, beets, potatoes, carrots, onions, garlic, beans and nut butters, ashwagandha, cloves, paprika, and rosemary. So with that being said, what I'm hearing to really share with everyone right now, and to Leanne, if Leanne would like to receive, is consider thinking about your groundedness and to bring focus to your root chakra to make sure that your root chakra is clear and healthy. And the more your root chakra is clear and healthy, the more you will naturally be grounded and you'll naturally be connected to the abundant energy of this human life on earth. And also keep in mind too that this could be a process. So yes, we may be clear within our mind now. We may be clear about our boundaries, or we may have stepped out of survival mode. But just remember too, to give ourselves the grace, give ourselves the patience to know that it's going to be a process. So, we could clear our mind and remove fear, but then there's still going to be other things to work on. So, we don't just clear the mind and clear fear, and then our abundance just comes in. There's going to be other things to work on and to put attention to. So, just for anybody out there, I just want to kind of clarify that so we're not thinking and giving ourselves the idea that you do one thing and then it's going to clear out everything else, and then everything amazing is just going to happen. Everything is very detail oriented, very specific when it comes to holistic healing. And when you focus on one thing, you're focusing on that. And then another aspect is another aspect. So then that's going to require different attention or different work. So your abundance is connected to your fear. It's connected to your mindset, but it's also directly connected to your root chakra. And that's going to be a different focus, which is going to require different things. So with that, you can do guided meditations to ground within nature. You can do different yoga, breath work. You can journal out anything that be causing you to feel like you have a negative relationship with money. You can journal out any ideas that you have for goals or career. And another thing too is building momentum through your actions. Get that internal Kundalini energy flowing. Wake up those bottom 3 chakras through movement, ecstatic dance, other things like that as well. And then the more you waken up those lower chakras, you'll get more of that Kundalini or that vital energy flowing. And then that vital energy raises up your system. It gives you that connection to abundance. It wakes up your being to feel like it has the passion, the creative energy to be able to put forward and express, to continue to reap and draw in more and more through using our vital energy. So there's that balance, the balance of the upper chakras and the lower chakras. Clear the mind, reprogram, ground in to your root chakra, so that new programming, that new sense of yourself, the new version of you can integrate and ground into your human vessel and into your human life properly and fully. A lot of times we get caught in the upper chakras and just reprogramming and doing mental things. And then we don't really get that balance of, okay, now I need to reground and recalibrate my base, my foundation, so that I can properly, fully download and integrate this new system of myself into my human vessel. So I would just tap in and check in and see where your root chakra is at. And also if you're wanting to do any one-on-one stuff or dive deeper with my guidance or somebody else, you can always reach out and I'll gladly do that with you. So last thing is I'm going to share this image as well. And this image is going to help you be able to see visually how grounding works. Grounding is your key to your connection of abundance. If you're not grounded, it'll be very difficult to be able to streamline the connection of the abundance of resources of the earth. So when you look at this diagram, you can see there that there are roots stemming and flowing out from the root chakra. And what this is depicting your energy being grounded to the planetary grid of Earth. So when this is connected and those roots are flowing throughout the Earth grid, that is your connection to abundance right there. That's why it's your foundation to your human life. So the more that's clear and the more you're grounded to the Earth, the planetary grid, the more you're energetically and metaphysically going to naturally be drawing in the support, the resources, the nurturing, the love, and everything else that you can think of from Mother Gaia. So for me, this is a priority in my everyday life. I make it a priority to make sure that my chakras are balanced, that I am grounded, and I am also connected. So with that, mix and match, experiment, experience, ask questions, and just intuitively kind of feel with yourself, where's my root chakra at? And then do a practice, see how you feel after that. And just try to stay in tune as much as you can with yourself and see if you can feel that lightness and connection with the bottom half of your body, with that root chakra. A lot of times too, another way you can tell if you're very intuitive is you can feel the energy very light. You can also feel yourself very magnetized to the earth. That's a good sense of being grounded. So with that being said, the chakras, they're going to be able to be your directors of the flow of conscious energy through you. And if those directors are not in place to be able to do what they were put there to do, then it can become difficult to be able to have that abundant, fluid, eternal connection with spirit. So yeah, that's what I got for you regarding, the connection to abundance. I would just consider the root chakra and think about ways that you can maybe bring some clearing and balance to that root chakra to complement the new programming and the new perception that you have. Wow, 2 hours almost.
Almost. So I'm going to share the divine design. For me, this helped me. There is, if you have this book, on page 123, and I'm not telling you to go out and buy the book. I'm not affiliated with Lori Ladd, or I don't get any kickback. This is just a book that helped me transform my puzzle pieces called life. It says, and this was a channel book that wrote. So the higher beings channeled this information they were speaking it. All right. So it says, the subcategory is called the density of human form. It says a 3D human form is dense matter. It is difficult for energy to move smoothly through matter. Sometimes like quicksand, it moves slowly. The human form is designed to hold 7 energy centers within the channel inside the human body. These centers naturally spin to move all energy and consciousnesses through the human body. It becomes difficult for energy to spin fluidity and quickly in dense matter. The simple nature of 3D human form slows the energy centers down. They cannot spin at their natural potential. If the energy centers are unable to spin quickly, energy and consciousnesses will have a much more difficult time moving in and out of the body through the channel. The basic nature of the form's density slows the 7 energy centers down. But it's not saying just because it slows the energies down, it doesn't mean you can't grow and expand your energy centers. It's just saying that we were created that way. We were given the energy centers so that we could grow and expand and move up the polarities, not just the polarities of third density, but our polarities. And the first center is knowing that we're rooted and grounded and being taken care of, that all our needs are met. And the more that we flow in those and embody those, the more energy quotient we grow and expand in. Our body grows and expands in energy. The more our quotient grows, the more we grow and we move up our polarity centers. the more the earth consciousness takes on the energy or the light quotient of us living, and the more it can shift and expand and grow and anchor and evolve, and the more we do it. Because we are part of her. We are part of this expression of life. She wanted to find out if she could flow in her energy, if she could shift in her energy with the physical body, and she invited us all to come play, our higher beings to come play. Some of us will never wake up to knowing our higher beings. We will just live, and we will still be sharing energy quotient with earth consciousness for her to shift and evolve, and we get to shift and evolve too, according to our free will choices that we use. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining Ra. Thank you for being part of this presentation. You are the gift that we chose to speak to today. You are the gift that the divine gave us. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, all of you. And I want to give an extra big thanks to everybody that participated in this episode. Leanne for being so vulnerable and writing out such beautiful, extensive words and expressions. You know, that's what it's all about here, is getting very raw and clear and vulnerable, knowing that they're just experiences to speak on, and that we can, you know, share and come to newfound perceptions and awarenesses with each other, through each other, with our experiences. So yeah, thank you to all of you and Leanne for sharing so much. And if you guys haven't yet, just remember you can subscribe on YouTube to both of us, Sacred Light Healing and Wellness, Soul Awakening with Sandra. And then you guys can follow us on Instagram as well, and on Facebook. That being said,
and if you love this, just tag somebody. If you know that they're gonna get a little something from it, they might not see it the way you see it, but they'll go, oh wow, I didn't know that existed. Oh wow, I've been trying to understand Ra for a while. Right? Not to say that we give the full understanding, because there are a lot of people that are tapping into Ra and this information, and the divine is giving them information to help them understand it and then help others.
That's right.
Right? So guess what? This was episode 49. Holy shit, we're on episode 50, the big 50. Holy moly, Batman. I'm excited. I know Marcus got something planned. I feel it. It must already be planned for us that we're going to celebrate the big 50.
That's right. There'll be something coming, but I'll be coming when the time comes.
I'll be coming around that mountain when I come.
All right, everybody. I got to hop off here before my computer dies. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, same Sending Beyond Limitations time, same channel. One love.
Wholeness and balanced love. Blue sage, blue tiger's eye crystal, raw rising codes, Ascended Masters series, Melchizedek, Lord Melchizedek, with the blue, red, and silver rays of God's will and power,
I surrender and open my vessel for you to channel the pure energies of the Divine Father, so that it may bring contentment, groundedness, and enlightenment to my lower self and ego. Melchizedek, may you channel wonderful, supportive, and healing energies to help clear the connection between my mind, body, emotion, and spiritual states of existence. I am allowing you to channel the codes and programming to reprogram my container to divine will and with my higher self. I am the divine bridge for the divine hierarchy and the earth plane. Ashe.